when he's like walking up to that throne, like I certainly got emotional, and maybe that's just because I have just this deep attachment to this character. I do think that this was one of their wins, and it was, and maybe it's just because I'm obsessed with Loki, but I enjoyed it. I definitely am singing its praises.
Welcome back to the Break Room. I'm John Costa. Joining me today is Jordan Morris.
Hi everybody.
Hi, Jordan.
And new friend of the channel, Jacki Jing.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jacki.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hello.
Jacki. You may have seen Jacki hosting E3 or potentially on The Circle. Will she?
Why was that with a question mark?
I don't know. That's how it's written. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Why did you read it like that?
That's what it says in the prompter. Will
then you
Jacki
could- wait, so then
survive
you could
the
just-
elimination that Jordan and I plan to do at the end of this episode? Will her clout be clouty enough? We'll find out.
My goodness.
And after the show, I'm gonna marry someone I'm only seeing for the first time.
Oh,
Whoa!
Yeah.
But we've already met. Hey, it's 2023.
You haven't met the real me, Mask.
That's right. Oh, God.
I know.
He's beautiful. It's 2023. What a year.
Yes.
Honestly, guys, can't wait to get on the other side of this one. But in the world of media, we had a crazy double strike that was historically long, not fun. Although it pushed a lot of things to next year, we still got a lot of great things to sort of end the year. A lot of great things that happened right before the strike. We're going to get into all of that as we go through the top nerdy moments from this year. Starting at the beginning of the year, / I guess not.
No, Last of Us, I think, was going on
Last
in
of Us
January.
was the beginning of the year, but then there's One Piece. I don't know. Guys,
Okay,
these are both
the
adaptations.
order-
Here we go.
Yeah.
Two of our favorite adaptations this year have been The Last of Us and One Piece. Kind of different shows.
Yes.
But I think shows that a lot of people were like, ooh, I want to see this translated from, animation or animation in video game form into live action. Can you believe that all of that happened this year? Maybe one of the best video game adaptations of all time, and truly like a win for an anime adaptation that doesn't happen as often as maybe you'd think it would.
What are you talking about? The Dragon Ball live action is one of the best
thank you.
movies of all time.
And by you saying that The Last of Us is the best of all time, that's Mortal Kombat erasure, my friends. That's
Now-
Christopher Lambert as Raid in Mortal Kombat erasure. So.
Man, okay, I do think we do have to speak about these two shows, though, like you said, doing landmark things. The Last of Us was not just, like, good or solid. Like, I think we see, like, some video game adaptations, and we're like, that was fun, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like, The Last of Us, it's heavy, it made me cry, it's gory, it's dark. Like, I really was worried about it because both of the games are precious to my heart, and so I was just like, please don't mess this up, please don't mess this up. Cowboy Bebop. That's all I'm gonna say. And The Last of Us, I really like. I don't feel like I'm erroneous saying this. Like, I thought it was like perfection. I thought it was really, really solid.
I didn't even realize this is what we were going to be talking about on the show today. Earlier today, I just was working and I pulled up the Last of Us soundtrack and I just brought myself back to not only playing those games but doing the after show for that show. It was like, I know this sounds really weird to say, but like, it was weirdly comforting to watch that show. Just, I think because I was such a fan of the games, and like getting to watch something that like the creators are going to treat with such respect just means that you could kind of like let yourself go, let all your worries about an adaptation away, and then just like enjoy the story again. And there were some changes in the show that I thought worked really well for a TV show that still kind of brought some surprises. I had a great time watching The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Just saying that just made my heart warm. Yeah.
Yeah, I also love those games.
Except for that second one. Jordan notoriously.
Oh, really? You're not a fan of 2?
No,
I do like 2.
That is a whole debate. I was like, John,
I was
don't
teeing
do
you up
that.
to be problematic. And I was like, that's kind of mean.
Well, yes, I do have a separate YouTube channel where I wear a Guy Fawkes mask where I say what I really think of the MCU. That shit sucks. I do love both those games. I thought the second one was fantastic.
It's so good.
And
Loved it,
play the game.
yes, and something that's so interesting about the Last of Us adaptation, a little bit of a spoiler spoiler here.
For what? What are you spoiling?
I'm going to say they do the plot of the game pretty much as it was in the game. So a lot of video game adaptations, you know, they change things around, they switch characters. They kind of think too hard about it. And what I kind of like about this adaptation was it's like, don't overthink it. People love this story. People love these characters. Just do the story as a TV show, and people will like it. Yeah, and I kind of felt that same way about Super Mario, too. I thought that was kind of a don't overthink it adaptation. Like, you don't have to explain the mushrooms. You don't have to explain the pipes. It's just magic. It's just fun. And I think this is kind of the same way where they're like, let's try and understand and harness what people like about the thing rather than just changing it to change it.
I think that like as a wannabe filmmaker myself, one of my like unwritten adaptation rules is like the plot actually does not matter. You just need to make people feel the way that they felt when they were reading the thing or watching the thing the first time or playing the thing. And like, okay, yes, people want to see the plot again, but like what you're really gonna bank on for adaptations is like just recapturing how people felt and like making sure that the themes are there and the setting is right and like just giving people an opportunity to like live with this thing in a new medium and like the really intricate details of like, oh well, why'd they cut Hermione's plot out of Order of the Phoenix with it's like because that is like
I'm also doing this when I'm complaining online.
But he says like you can cut things, you can change things as long as the like feeling is there. And I maybe used a bad example because I think people really like that storyline from Order of the Phoenix.
But I think I'll bring up an example
Yeah.
from my youth.
Great.
One of the great disappointments of my growing up was the Street Fighter adaptation. I still love Street Fighter, and I was so excited like Van Damme's going to be in a Street Fighter movie, and then it just was this different thing. It wasn't about a fighting tournament. It was about a military operation. And it's like, it's like you don't like the game. And I think a lot of the adaptations of our youth kind of seemed like they think comics are dumb or they think video games are dumb. And they're trying to like, okay, we have to adapt this. But I think with The Last of Us, and I'm excited to hear about One Piece, which I didn't watch, it seems like they love the source material and the love comes through.
So it's interesting. You wanted me to pivot into One Piece here. So for One Piece, they were very heavily involved with the creator. And they were like, we want you to be super involved with this process and in approvals, everything like that, right? And with The Last of Us, they were working very closely with Naughty Dog as well. With Cowboy Bebop, Shinichiro Watanabe, who created it, it's one of the most epic anime of all time. I literally have it tattooed on my side. And he watched the first episode and was like, this is not my story, and literally turned it off. And so I think like you have just been like, honestly, like everything you say, I'm just like ditto. It's just, don't mess with the source material. Like if the source material is good, like let it be great. Just find a way to bring in those wonderful feelings and emotions that we felt with it. Like give us the nostalgia, right? And then also I think last point, just that it's important to like honor the creators and like work with the creators. And I think that's why those two were super successful. And I hope writers and studios and everything are doing their homework and have noted and learned that. So sorry.
I can't speak for people who are in these rooms or getting these gigs or whatever, but like oftentimes with a big adaptation like this, there will be what's called an open writing assignment, which basically just means that they want to hear pitches from a bunch of different writers they haven't hired, but they know that they want to make this thing. And, that in this era has probably been beneficial for some of these films because you have a ton of different writers pitching on these things and like they're bringing various amounts of passion. But I do imagine like what you were talking about back in our youth when they were doing these adaptations, it almost felt like they were like, we have an IP. We're going to greenlight this movie because we know this IP is going to bring in money. We have this writer. And the writer is like, well, I might not ever make another feature-length film again. I'm going to tell my story and, use this opportunity to talk about the things that I want to talk about rather than like maybe doing a faithful adaptation. And it's interesting that you talk about One Piece and how, integral the creator of that anime was to the Netflix adaptation, specifically because there are like, there are hundreds of episodes of One Piece. I can't imagine trying to adapt that show
Can I get on my soapbox
Yes,
again?
please.
Okay, so
Bring in the
watch
soapbox.
One Piece.
Get it in.
Watch One Piece. I don't even need a soapbox. I'm 6'2". Like if I stood up, I'd be like out of the frame right now. But anyway, One Piece is awesome. Did you all see Hook? Come on.
I love.
Okay. Okay.
So shocking when
What?
you're a kid and you watch Hook.
Yes.
Or at least when I was a kid and I watched
You
Hook.
hiding? Yeah.
I'm like, this is.
Jordan, why is he hiding from us?
I don't know.
I've never seen Hook.
Oh.
Jordan,
Well.
that is an offense.
And it,
Okay,
believe
come on.
me.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, we're cut off from this
The
conversation.
soapbox will now host the show. We're gonna bring in the soapbox that she was gonna stay. No, it's
Sit in the corner.
it's a ton of fun. I was so shocked when I learned that is considered a bad Spielberg movie. I think it was kind of a bomb at the time. And to people who are maybe around our age, you're like, oh, that was the ultimate sleepover movie.
Oh,
you watched that at every
ultimate.
sleepover movie,
Yeah.
Bangarang.
I watched it by myself.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I think I knew it by heart. But, okay, so if you liked Hook,
Yes.
One Piece is like, the world is Hook. You know what I mean? It's literally when you, okay, so you watched the first episode, right? And you told me you were like kind of meh on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do think like it's one of those where they're trying to do a lot of world building and introduce you to a lot of characters in the first episode, so it's kind of a little bit of a grind. And I think they were also wanted people to like see a lot of their favorites, you know what I mean? And so get like excited about that. It really, really takes off. Like I think maybe just a couple episodes in. And I know people are like, well, why aren't the first 2 episodes good then? Like they're solid. It just goes from like solid to like great in my opinion. And if you like Hook, it's pirates. They're having fun. It's campy. They have like over the top costumes. The whole premise is about like, you know, taking down the government.
Right.
And like, you know, we have hearts and we have connections with people and like we don't need like the higher ups to tell us like how to live our life and do our thing. And so it has like this really like pure, wonderful story. And like you were saying, thousands of episodes. They adapted the East Blue Saga. Well, it's
Over 1,000.
over 1,000.
That's
it's 1,000, like 56, maybe.
You know, when I was
70,
about to
70.
say hundreds, I was like, yeah, no, there are multiple hundreds.
Yeah.
But I almost walked it back and I was like, over 100.
It's
But
1,000.
over 1,000.
I'm pretty sure it's like 1,070-ish.
Wild.
Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But
I don't think anybody on the internet.
yeah, tell me I'm wrong. I know the internet.
Roast us in the comments.
Internet never
Ooh.
tells us we're
We
wrong.
got 1,088
Oh, I was wrong.
episodes.
Oh, my God, I was wrong.
That's a lot.
Oh man,
That's
what
a
a
lot.
Anyway,
dude.
regardless, there's a lot of
What a
source material, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt like they successfully executed on like encompassing that saga really well. And so I know a lot of you watching at home, you were probably really familiar with like Star Wars and Marvel and everything like that. Like this is an adventure story with pirates. And so I'm just like, I know you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Some of you at home may not have seen it. And I'm just like, please go check it out. It's so good.
You're convincing me. What I'm
Yeah.
starting to love about this episode that we're doing is like, now I have, okay, we're about to all go see our families potentially, you know, or take some time off of work, whatever it is. We got now a list of like,
Oh, yeah.
oh great, I'm now sold on One Piece. And we should move on. But
You should watch Hook
I think
too.
that the problem that I had with One Piece was like, I have a camp tolerance that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just like am not in the mood. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's bring on the camp. That sounds super fun.
Yeah.
Other times I'm like, I just kind of want to watch something that's a little bit more grounded. I think when I watched the first episode of One Piece, I was like, not for me today. I can't do this.
That's why you never want to come over and watch Batman and Robin, huh?
because I'm watching it alone.
Oh my gosh.
Under the covers.
Pausing on the
flashlight.
nipple scenes.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. I'm so
Rewind.
happy you brought that up. I love those. I love the I'm weird. I liked Val Kilmer as Batman.
He's a good
And
Batman.
I thought George Clooney wasn't bad. I am not disrespecting Michael Keaton. Like Michael Keaton is perfection.
Love that
We're
you're
talking about Christmas stuff. Batman Returns, right? It's a good Christmas movie.
Christmas
Anyway,
movie.
I'm sorry. ADD brain. I'm like all over the place.
I was gonna just try to
Anyway,
get you.
Coming into your
I was-
first episode with some spicy
I was,
takes.
I was trying to get the audience
I-
to turn on you in your first episode by asking what's your favorite Batman.
well, you know,
Hi,
what?
this is my first episode. Val Kilmer's the best Batman.
No, he's okay. I'll take it back. He's not that bad. I think people really hated on him at the time, and I actually thought that movie was really fun. But again, I think, our youth, and so I wear a lot of things with rose-colored lenses.
Of course.
So maybe is Hook bad?
Hook might be bad.
Is Hook really bad?
I have not seen
know.
it as an adult, and I know.
I rewatched as an adult and I still love it.
I will say, speaking of rose-colored glasses, we also had a sort of summertime blockbuster fest.
Yes.
Barbie, rose-colored glasses, pink.
That was good. Really nice.
Segue.
Wasn't good enough. I had to explain
the segue.
I had to explain it.
Oh, yeah.
And Oppenheimer. We had this great Barbenheimer, whichever side of the linguistic fence you're on there. We got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Iconic event, maybe the biggest kind of pop culture event of the year, you could argue. Very hilariously kind of like fueled by Christopher Nolan's business rivalry.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Feeling a little jaded about Warner Brothers and leaving his overall deal with Warner and going to Universal. And then Warner being like, well, we're going to put out the highest grossing movie of the year when your movie comes out. So let's talk about this. Do you think something like this is possible again? Just like, I'm sure we've had moments in cinema like this before, but two movies that like feel like they should be so far apart in terms of audience, but weirdly have a lot of overlap.
People tried to make Saw Patrol happen for a while. That's
too far apart. Does it have to have a catchy name? What's the deal?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was fun, and it was a fun like celebration of movies in the theaters. So yeah, and definitely like you're seeing some little glimmers of hope for theatrical releases. Cool that Godzilla -1 was so big in theaters.
Love that
Amazing
movie.
that people are going to see Beyonce and Taylor Swift in movie theaters.
True.
If only they could just put out a tour a year, that would be great.
Hey, when they see that box office receipt come in, they might decide, we'll do a tour.
like,
Yeah,
okay.
I will admit I have not seen Oppenheimer yet.
Whoa.
Because I'm just still watching Barbie. I just watch Barbie all the time.
Every
I love
day.
Barbie.
On
I'm a feminist.
You haven't seen Oppenheimer.
I wasn't planning on being outed like that
Oh,
on
sorry.
this episode, but I have not seen Oppenheimer. I tried to watch Oppenheimer the other day. I made the mistake of, this is legal. We live in California. I took an edible and I was watching it, and because I was
Don't
like,
be embarrassed, man.
no, I'm not. I know.
Our audience is
I know.
cool.
My mom
There's
doesn't
no
watch this. Whatever.
Square. There's no narcs in the audience.
Anyways, I was like, I can't see
75%
it
of the people
70
watching
millimeter.
this are
I can't see it on a big screen. I'll just turn the volume up way high.
Yeah.
I'll move the couch closer to the TV. I'll take an edible. It's the same thing. I could not follow the first 20 minutes of that movie. I was a little too messed up. So I was like, I'll watch this another time. So that's where I'm at with Oppenheimer right now.
Okay, so here are my thoughts on Oppenheimer, and I'm probably gonna. I have bad takes on things. Apparently, Val Kilmer is a great Batman.
No,
I
these are-
thought
They're hot. They're hot takes.
They're hot takes indeed. Oppenheimer, I think, is beautiful. It was like very, very like gorgeous to watch, and it's extremely heavy and dark, and it's one of those where I was like. I've watched it once. I don't think I'm gonna watch that again, And it's like
Interesting.
yeah, and I think that obviously like everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is just my own. Like it was very heavy, very sad, and a well done movie. But like watched it and for me it's done. For Barbie. I think I saw it in theaters 3 times, and like you said, it was like a celebration, right? Like I saw all these people showing up wearing pink and going in collectives, and I definitely think that there were people who they were showing up for both of them. It was just like this cool, for lack of a better word, movement. I feel like that's like kind of too strong of a word,
Yeah.
but it was like people were getting really excited about both of these movies, and I think that though like I don't think Oppenheimer is probably in my top 20 movies list. It was worth seeing in theaters. I thought it was beautiful and gorgeous, and could speak about it at length, but like it just kind of was like contained for me there. And then Barbie was something that was just like so fun and sparked so many conversations. Frankly, it sparked even some arguments, like I found myself like getting into it with some people about it, and oh gosh, TikTok, social media was going nuts. Like it was just like, I don't, movement's not the right word, but it was definitely like some sort of like,
It was an
social event. Yeah, maybe that's it.
And I think like you were saying, we want more of these things. The question that I kind of started with was like, can this happen again? I do think like, if you look back, maybe you would say that Eras and Renaissance are sort of having a smaller version of that event right now. But there have been events, maybe not with 2 movies, but like No Way Home for me felt like an event.
Sure.
Endgame felt like an event. But even movies like I had another one in mind, but Crazy Rich Asians felt like we're going to go see this movie in the theater, even though like you wouldn't think a rom-com is like you got to go to the theater to watch this film. And you know, there's a couple others that I think. Oh, Cats was the other one that I was thinking of, which is like Cats felt like Cats felt like this movie is so bad. It is in theaters. You have one opportunity to like go do some like weird Cats shit at a theater. I didn't see it in theaters, unfortunately, but like I really wish I had.
I did, and by the end, people were just yelling at the screen.
Yes.
Who's that?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
That's
just
perfect.
Like, so
so fun.
I like the musical. So,
I know the music's great. In
So
Cats,
I'm like, to hear how bad it was, I was devastated. You know, so I didn't
fair.
see it.
I think
and I
it
was
is
like,
just
I
the
don't want
fact
to
that
ruin it for
they
me.
were pretty faithful to it, you know?
Oh,
and
really?
I think we maybe, it's such an institution if you're a musical theater fan.
Yeah.
You maybe don't realize how insane it is.
It is.
And to just see it projected on the screen. And I know we're all kind of stumping for like, hey, you know, don't take so many liberties with adaptations. Adapt the thing. Love the thing.
How
but
funny.
I think in this case, the musical might be too insane to be a movie.
Yeah, I
Correct me
could
if-
see that for
Correct me if
sure.
I'm wrong here. I think a couple of the problems. I don't know how we got onto Cats. It's my fault. Correct me if I'm wrong here. And as someone who has not seen the stage play or the musical, is the main character Cat in the movie is a new character? Is that right?
Wait, are we talking about the musical or the movie?
The movie.
Oh, I
There
don't know
are
the movie.
some new Cats. I don't remember it enough to speak on it with. And I don't.
I think that it goes. That we have Jordan Morris today, who is a Cats expert. No, but like you know,
I'm a cat weirdo. I have a cat that I'm not. It's not the movie cat.
He does have a cat
It's
on his
my
shirt
personal
currently.
cat who is an angel. Do you want to hear about that cat?
But you know, like the stage version of that musical is way campier than the movie. It is not a. It's not like a
It's
plot-driven
campier
show.
than the movie.
I think so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's like really over the top.
I
And
think
also
so.
like, mind you, I watched it when I was really young, and I mainly just like know the music.
Right.
But like, I don't even remember a plot. Like it was like
There's no plot.
wild
It's just a bunch of
There's no
stuff.
plot. They're like, we all want to die and go to heaven. That's the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah,
Wow.
maybe in that case, someone should have tried to maybe give it a little bit more of a skeleton to
Yeah.
make it more of a movie.
I
but,
could see that,
But also,
yeah.
I had so much fun watching it. I maybe don't want it to be different.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, it was an event.
It was an event. There you go.
By the way, our producer was like, "Don't talk about the. Just briefly talk about this stuff off the top, and then get into Marvel." And we
Oh, I'm so sorry, Evan.
we literally talked about everything but Marvel off the top. So I'm just like,
We got 10 more minutes. Here
Right.
we go.
All right, Yellowstone recaps.
so
what was your
now-
favorite episode of Yellowstone this season?
Now I gotta ask.
Dancing with the Stars.
Now that the dust has settled a little bit, out of these movies, which is the best? You've got
okay.
Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Cats.
okay, not Cats.
Amazing question.
I'm gonna say Barbie, and I know that might upset some people, but
You know,
I love Barbie.
I have not seen Oppenheimer.
Unfortunately, Jordan and I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Barbie's a home run. I loved it. So funny. Great performances all around. And showing a clear love of the IP, I think.
Yes.
Even when being
Yeah.
critical of it at certain
Absolutely.
points. So yeah, Barbie's great.
Let's talk about Star Wars. Fans of the animated Star Wars shows got like a real big treat to see some of their favorite characters and concepts, if you think about like the Mortis gods, realized in live action. I think it's safe to say that everyone was pretty floored by episode 5 of Ahsoka. That was like the flashback / World Between Worlds episode. That was the episode that I cried during. But maybe the biggest thing in Star Wars this year was seeing Hayden Christensen as Anakin in the World Between Worlds. This might carry a lot of weight for fans, but do you think that the general public is losing interest in Star Wars without big lightsaber Jedi movies? Is that something that like you prefer Disney kind of veers back toward? Maybe with like learning the lessons of the sequel trilogy and saying like, oh, you know, let's actually sit down and break out these 3 movies, or if they want to do a trilogy and sit with that. I personally want more Star Wars movies. I feel like the work that they're doing in television is so great a lot of the time, but I do want to see a big screen, like, you know, blow your budget, do crazy cinematography, like tell your crazy stories, cast your crazy people. How are you guys with the state of Star Wars right now?
Honestly, what you just said, like nails it on the head. Like if we're gonna get a film, like someone needs to just like go all out and not give a about money or about what people think, and like just be like, hey, like we're getting nitty gritty, we're going for heart, we're bringing out all the creatures you could think of, and you know what I mean. Like I think it's got to be like really over the top. I've liked the shows. Like we were talking about Andor earlier.
Yeah.
I think we're all big Andor heads here at
big
Rockstars, and I'll encourage people to check out that show. It's so good. Maybe underseen, I think.
Yeah, it is
that's your
kind of
holiday watch.
underseen.
Go watch that.
Mandalorian was solid, and honestly, I was really, really happy that Ahsoka was good.
Yeah.
Because Obi-Wan Kenobi disappointed me.
Yeah.
That was
Like
heartbreaker.
Obi-Wan Kenobi was like my dude. Like I absolutely loved him when I was watching like the early episodes, which is technically 4, 5, and just 4, right? But yeah, but like I remember when I was a kid, I loved that character. Yeah. And then when Ewan McGregor took over for episode 1, 2, and 3, I was like, I loved Ewan McGregor. Maybe I had a slight crush on him, but that's beside the point. And then like I was like, he's back, and they're gonna like dive deep into this like character that I felt so much attachment to. And I like literally think I got maybe 4 episodes in, and like each one was grueling for me. Like I was not getting into it.
It's tough. And there was this moment that I will remember. I will remember always seeing the there was a Star Wars celebration or something, and it had Ewan McGregor and Hayden on stage together for the first time. Since the prequels, and I've become a little bit of a prequels apologist. I think
that's happened for a lot of us.
Yeah,
they're neat, weird, goofy movies, and maybe worth a rewatch. And I think a lot of people feel like that. For a lot of people, that's their Star Wars. If you were a kid when those were coming out, that is Star Wars to you. And Rebels is Star Wars to you, and Clone Wars is Star Wars to you. So there's just this moment where they're on stage, and the moderator, I think it might have even been an IGN person, says something like, I think I know what they want to hear. And Hayden says, this is where the fun begins. And people lose their shit. And I'm like, people are so excited about this. And there's so many little corners of Star Wars to be excited about. So, even if Andor isn't your thing, or even if Ahsoka isn't your thing, it seems like they are cognizant of the fact that Star Wars means a lot of things to a lot of people. So hopefully, they're making enough of this to where there's a little something for everybody. And I think that's what they're doing, and I think it's cool.
So I'll ask one quick end of Star Wars question real fast for this segment. If we were to get new films,
oh god,
and I know there's some that are like in development or announced or whatever, but if we were to get new films, do you want a prequel series? Pre-prequels?
Right. High Republic, right?
Or anywhere. A post sequels.
Oh gosh.
A in between somewhere, or a unrelated to the Skywalker saga.
I think I got an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Rise of Skywalker. Mixed bag, trending towards negative, right? I think we can all.
Very generous.
We can all say. A great thing about that movie that I think people didn't talk enough about is how great Daisy Ridley is in it. She's terrific in that movie. Kind of a little bit like a young Mark Hamill, who started off a little shaky. And then by Return of the Jedi, Mark Hamill's fucking great. And I think the same thing kind of happened with Daisy Ridley, where, I don't think she was bad in Force Awakens, but, the character was maybe a little half-baked. But by the time we got to that last movie, she's terrific. And I think that character is terrific. And I think the fact that they're making another movie about Rey is really neat. Hopefully it is, a little more thoughtfully realized than Rise of Skywalker. But I think it's cool. Make that fucking movie. I know they say they're making all these movies, and they never do. Taika Waititi was making one. Benioff and Weiss were making one. So I hope they don't cancel this one. I hope they actually do it, because I think that's a neat way to go.
Sorry, I'm only laughing because Weiss and what was his name again?
Benioff.
Yeah,
the Game of Thrones guys.
Game of Thrones. That's why they didn't make one. Sure. But sorry, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Maybe it's okay they didn't get to make their Star Wars movie, but
I'm always been kind of sad about, because I think that there were articles that echoed this, that they were excited to do Star Wars, so they kind of like sped up the ending of Game of Thrones,
right.
and so it's like, if in some world, in some multiverse, in some dimension, they properly gave Game of Thrones the exit it deserved and also created a great Star Wars movie. It was not in our dimension or our universe, but yeah, that would have been cool if that happened, but it didn't.
You watched the last Rick and Morty episode, but they have different branching realities where Lost ended different ways.
So funny.
Anyway, so maybe somewhere there's an Earth 2.
Lost ended.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of being lost,
Yes.
if you are lost right now and online, head over to nerdriot.shop and you'll find some really great merch to celebrate the holiday season.
Yay.
We've got mugs. That's it. That's all we sell.
Sorry.
That's all we do. We've got mugs. We've got shirts. We got hoodies. We're working on sweatpants. I hear you. I hear you. We're talking about it. There's like a gaming. They call it mouse pads, but there's a gaming thing now. Check it out. There's some new stuff there. Or wait until you get that Christmas check in your stocking.
I was like, what is he doing?
This is the universal sign of pulling the Christmas check out of your stocking.
He was like,
Santa wrote me a check.
I just told him a fish. I was like, okay.
Take your fish, trade it with a fisherman, and spend that money on some nerdriot.shop
Take your traditional
merchandise.
Christmas trout.
Let's talk about Marvel now. Listen, not a great year for Marvel.
What do you mean?
For, I think, the wider audience's perspective. People are always like, new Rockstars too nice. And it's like, we don't want to talk about like shit we don't like all the time. So we do try to find the stuff that we do like. But we are going to kind of cover all Marvel stuff. You know, we had one bad year out of the last 15. Was when Iron Man came out.
Yeah, Marvel more good stuff than bad stuff.
Yeah,
a pretty
most of
good
the time.
track record.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the stuff this year was a little rough.
Not our favorite. Some big things that happened that were great. Loki season 2, I think, pretty universally praised.
Yeah.
And a big shakeup to sort of like the MCU and MCU lore canon. You have Loki sort of like. How would you even put this? He already was a god. How do you become more of a god? I don't know, but he's now the god of stories and is sort of like this figure at the end of time, sort of watching over all
I
of
just
the...
love Loki. I'm sorry. Like, I love Loki. He's always been one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and I love how, like, we've just seen him grow. Like, he was kind of like... you know, the unwanted child or felt that way, you know, or like the sidekick brother, and then he like tried to find his own, and then he's grappling with like good and evil, and then Loki season 1, he's kind of like weird and tripping all over himself and lost, and then like you said, this finale, when he's like walking up to that throne, like I certainly got emotional, and maybe that's just because I have just this deep attachment to this character, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think people have been quite critical of Marvel and Star Wars as of late. I do think that this was one of their wins, and it was, and maybe it's just because I'm obsessed with Loki, but I enjoyed it. I definitely am singing its praises. So.
One of the things that you said, I don't know why, just like triggered a thought in my brain, which was like, okay, Loki as a character is probably more or less settled in the MCU for the time being, right? There's been a lot of talk about like, oh, are we going to get Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man back? Are we going to get Chris Evans' Captain America back? I think the next person sort of in that echelon to retire is Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Now I'm excited for a version where we do recast Loki and we do have a new version of that character in the MCU after a potential Secret Wars or whatever, when there is like more of a reset, and Loki getting to meet himself and sort of like where he ends feels like it would be such a kind of, because you're right, we do get a little bit of that moment in season 1 of Loki where he's like kind of watching what his life was meant to be, and it's a really emotional moment. I would love for him to have sort of the opposite of that, which is like, you know, that was a path your life was destined to take, but here's another one where you get to be this amazing person, and I think that would be a really cool story. So that's like future MCU stuff that I'm excited for is not like, oh, I miss Iron Man and would love to see him. I'm doing this again. I miss Iron Man and would love to see him in another movie. But like I
This is a
do,
gift,
I almost
people.
want to
Give
just
clip
see
this out and gift
characters meet themselves. I think would be really emotionally resonant and something that I think would be cool.
Ditto.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes,
yeah.
Loki season 2 good. I maybe was maybe a little softer on it than the general new Rockstars office.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did like it a lot and agree that like Hiddleston is fucking great.
So good.
One of my other
So
kind of like
good.
unwritten rules is it matters a little bit less how you start if you can finish well. And we talked about Game of Thrones started incredibly and ended with a wet fart, and people are like, I hate that fucking show. I hate those fucking people.
Don't let
I never
them make
wanna
a
see
Star
anything
Wars
again.
ever.
I don't want to see her in my thing. I don't want to see him in this other thing. I get it.
Yeah.
But you talk about like something like Loki season 2, which I would agree. I think that there's a couple episodes in the beginning that maybe don't connect as well as some of the other episodes. But the way that that show finished was so good that I think it. I mean, and I'm not saying the bad episodes of Loki were as bad as the bad episodes of Game of Thrones. Don't get me wrong, but I do think like it matters a little bit more how you finish, as long as you're able to keep people to get to that ending. And so I think that the reason it's so beloved is just it ended so well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, great ending, and yeah, for sure. And you know, maybe my future Loki pitch would be a little more of an episodic version of that show. We're just like every day, new timeline, new universe, new crime.
Love that.
You wrap
I would
it up.
love it.
I got really into Strange New Worlds this year.
Okay, yeah.
The Star Trek show.
Okay.
And I love how episodic that show is. There's some running themes, and obviously there's some big stories and relationships that evolve. But essentially, we go to a new planet, we find a new thing. By the end of the episode, we've had a story.
There's not a lot of shows like that
Yeah,
anymore. It's
I
like
know.
everything is like in this bigger picture, right?
Sure.
We were talking about the fall of House of Usher, and it's like you got to be along for that whole
Right.
ride.
It's just like a
Yeah.
long movie.
Yes.
You know, which can be good, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of saw potential for Loki now that, you know, the TVA is a little unmoored with, I don't know, could we do a version that's a little more Monster of the Week?
I do
I
think
love
like
that.
Lost killed that genre of television. I think, but I do a TVA show. It doesn't need
Yeah.
to be Loki season 3.
Yeah, no, sure, it
but
could
like
be-
the TVA, I think is a great show, and it's like X-Files-y or whatever comp
Yeah.
you want to make would be awesome. That's great.
Owen,
need to
Owen
bring that
Wilson and
back.
Sylvie. Do an Owen Wilson and
so
Sylvie.
good.
Will they, won't they?
Oh my God,
Even
It's a duo.
fuck it,
I
go
love
do a
that.
rescue mission, save Renslayer, add her to the. There's like so many great characters.
Yeah.
that I
Yeah,
think
oh
you
yeah,
can have.
sure. And you can tie it into all that stuff. But anyway, one and done. That's
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
so-
something that
Kevin Feige, call us. We
Marshall?
got pitches.
Marshall?
Was that a different show that
Also,
we did?
I gave a really good Disney marketing proposal on one of our other episodes. So people, you should go watch that. And Marshall, hire us. Should I bring it up right now?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so there's all these Christmas specials and Christmas like Marvel and Disney movies, right? And they should do like each day of Christmas, like watch this for day one of Christmas.
A little advent
Happy
calendar.
holidays, yes, yeah,
That'd
a
be
little
fun.
advent calendar, holidays. Sorry, but yeah, like because when I was a kid, remember they do the 25 days of the
yeah.
holidays. You know what I mean? And so, or yeah, 25.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to check. I was like 1, 2,
That is
3,
good. They
4.
should do that.
Yeah, I was like, because they're dropping all of What If in a week. You know what I mean? So I
Sure.
was like, I don't know. Anyway, hire me maybe or not. I'll just
Everyone,
keep on
hire
coming
us
here.
for all the
Yeah,
jobs.
for all the writings, please.
We had a couple of other things come out this year, and I just want to talk about like we're zip through these a little bit because I want to talk about like MCU implications or big changes or whatever. This Rhodey reveal that we got in Secret Invasion, I think at first it was really exciting. It was like, oh wow, how long has Rhodey been a Skrull for, and like how is this going to play in? And then like by the time we got to the finale, which was disappointing again, that show started pretty good, ended really poorly. In my opinion.
No,
opinion?
agreed. Just it was sad because it had so many great actors in it, and you're just like, how?
The pitch for that show is like, oh, we're gonna do a Nick Fury spy show, and he's finding Skrulls. Great.
Sounds amazing.
Sold.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the room, buy it.
Yeah, sure.
And add
do 9
Olivia
seasons
Colman.
of that.
Who else
yeah.
is in it?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to think of. There was who's the
Kingsley
guy?
Benadir's
yeah,
great.
yeah. I'm like, it had such a great cast, and then I was just like, what? just happened here. But anyway,
Didn't
I don't wanna
quite
be too
work
mean.
out. I think that the reveal of him being a Skrull was interesting until the reveal of how long he had been a Skrull, which was like implied to have happened right during Civil War, right after Civil War, and people were like, "Oh, all this emotional attachment that I have to this character is now kind of ruined." And it's like, then do we like? I can't remember what was his Skrull's name. I don't remember.
I don't either.
Do we like that Skrull? Because they were a good companion to Tony. It gets really fucking messy.
In the teleprompter, it literally says, Rhodey being a Skrull equals and that's all we need to say about that. That's all we need to say.
I think at some point we'll have some sort of retcon coming with all the gunk that happened in Secret Invasion. Maybe Maria Hill's still alive out there somewhere. Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Her and
Do a
Coulson
Maria Hill
somewhere.
show.
We were literally talking about this on the What If episode we just did. I was like, I love Colby.
Anyway.
I love Colby. I love Maria Hill. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of
Yeah.
retcon because you can't have Gaia out there with every power.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people have been talking about this like multiverse theory where some of the things that we're seeing don't take place in the same universe as some of the other things we're seeing. I like the theory. I think it's interesting. I agree with something that Eric said in a video, which was basically like, it's not, your mom is seeing these movies, like I get that Marvel can kind of do like more heady storytelling sometimes, but like at the end of the day, this is like a mass market product, and I think it would be a little confusing for people to be like, wait, which universe did this one take place in?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So
Agreed.
I like that theory. I just don't think it's going to stick. We got a couple more things that were really implicative to the MCU, including Beast being in the Marvels. And this was really interesting because, it's like, okay, what universe is that Beast in? Because this incursion is happening, and like we mentioned Professor Xavier, who's dead in 838, and it's like, was 838 intended to be the Fox X-Men universe? Probably not. Is this new thing supposed to be that? Beast looks kind of different. He's CGI now. It's not makeup. Was that just a production choice? A lot of questions came out of the Marvels film, not only having to do with that film, but also this post-credit scene. I just kind of want to hear you guys' thoughts about your excitement about this or your concern about this. Any Beast or X-Men thoughts?
I love the X-Men. I grew up on the 90s animated show. So the movies definitely were not awesome in my opinion. And I never understood why they could not get it right, because I feel like the world of X-Men has the best characters, the best. We were just basically touting Storm in every way possible in a different episode. Rogue has so much complexity with her powers and who she is as a person. I had the biggest crush on Gambit with his Cajun accent and his amazing fade haircut. Jubilee was a little bit annoying at times, but I love Jubilee too. Oh my gosh, I literally came.
This is worse than the Val Kilmer Batman thing. Jubilee was annoying.
I do
She's an
love
angel.
Jubilee, but I'm saying they all hold a special place in my heart. Mystique is one of the best villains. Could kind of go both ways. I'm just I could go on and on about why X-Men is amazing, and so I just get scared every time we start talking about a movie because I think I'm just traumatized because it was the animated show is so precious to me and these characters are so precious to me, and then the movies never quite did it for me. Also, I was a huge fan of Psylocke, and I don't think Olivia Munn did anything wrong, but it was just kind of I just don't feel like these characters were ever written to their potential.
Yeah.
And I'm just please, I don't know what needs to be done, but hopefully they'll do it better this time around.
That would be nice. Yeah, I think I'm cribbing a Voss take here. They've been doing so much with their B team for so long. This is a cold take at this point, but they made a franchise out of characters people hadn't really heard of. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. They were the B team, and they managed to make this giant universe with those characters as the foundation. And now we have some of the greatest characters ever to come out of comics. We have the X-Men, we have the Fantastic Four. So hopefully they've learned some things from the mistakes of this year and this, phase or whatever. And yeah, we can just get some really great movies with these really great characters.
I hope.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll, slow down the production a little bit, maybe give great writers and directors time to make the movie they want instead of reshooting everything to death. Yeah. And so hopefully, now that we have the potential to have these characters, we'll get some great stuff.
And I do think before we move on to our last topic here, this strike, obviously really devastating to our industry in a lot of ways, but what it gave to Marvel Studios, this gift basically of like this opportunity to kind of take stock and realize like what is working, what's not working.
Sure.
And we heard, Daredevil Born Again is getting rewritten and delayed. We heard Captain America Brave New World, same story, is getting a lot of rewrites and reshoots. So I'm hoping that that's all like great news and good opportunities, and they can move forward and had several months to just kind of like sit back and be like, well, this year has not gone the way that we wanted it to. How can we take these lessons and run? We do want to quickly go to one of the other shows that was sort of coming out during the end of the year, a spin-off show that I think we all really loved, GenV. It was kind of a surprise. I watched that first trailer, and my complaint to some of my coworkers was that it felt a little too Riverdale-y. And that did not end up
You mean the highest compliment you can give any entertainment product?
Much, yeah.
You mean it looks awesome?
Maybe I should have said like a little too like Pretty Little Liars-y or One Tree Hill-y, which are two shows that I've watched.
But that's hot right now. We were literally just talking about Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Wednesday and all that stuff. Like that kind of young adult, like kind of, I don't even know what you call it. It's not a genre. Is it a genre? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
I know
what
you mean.
Yeah, kind of genre heavy YA. It's a little bit
Yes.
it's a little dramatic. There's a lot. It's a little soapy maybe.
Yes. It definitely, all I can think of, I hope I'm not going to regret saying this. I liked a lot of CW shows when I was younger, like Smallville. I'm trying to think of some others and it's escaping me. But like, there's a lot of these new shows that people call Riverdale. They remind me of CW shows. Like they're like,
100%.
There's like a darkness and they do get pretty dark, but there's always this like, we're in high school having fun kind of along with these like really heavy kind of things going on. And so what I loved about GenV is that it's literally Riverdale meets The Boys.
Sure.
Like it's literally Riverdale meets The Boys.
And I guess when I said it felt Riverdale-y, I was sort of taking that within the context of the greater Boys universe and saying like, well, this is a show that like, it probably doesn't have a lot of crossover fans with a show like Riverdale, but I think what they did with GenV was really clever and creative, and it like ended up being for maybe both crowds.
Total 100% agree with you.
So I loved a little bit of GenV. Really kind of held its own and proved that it could stand on its own. It's not, I think a lot of people were like, ugh, why do I have to watch the show in order to then go watch Boys season 4? And it's like, well, just treat it as like Boys season 3B, and it's some new characters, and it's fucking great.
We can talk spoilers, right?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Spoilers.
The finale.
Ooh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen
Oh, we
it?
You can. I'll just.
Jordan.
Listen.
Put on a pair of
It's not about the
Spoiler
destination. It's about the ride.
Okay, so I don't think this is like a major
Spoiler. I haven't
spoiler.
seen any of it, so.
Basically,
Oh, okay. You'll forget about
But you've
this
seen
one.
The Boys, right?
I'm excited.
Okay.
I like this conversation because it's getting me stoked about GenV.
So Homelander appears in the finale, and it's just like the presence of Homelander. That actor, is his name Andrew Starr? Anthony Starr.
Oh, yeah,
sorry,
he's great.
I don't know what it is. Like he just has this presence, right? And so you just like see him land, and like the whole campus. It takes place in a college campus. Is just eerily like quiet and just so afraid of him, and you think like he's here to save the day, right? I won't tell you what happened, but like he's here to save the day, and then like he just says these lines and it literally like pierced through my heart, and then the way it all ends, I literally was just like staring at my screen. I'm getting chills right now. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, do not.
Oh,
Do
man.
not.
I gotta
do
watch it.
Like,
I gotta
I'm
watch
sorry,
it.
That doesn't sell it for you.
No, I'm into
Like,
it.
And I think
excited.
it's funny because, like, I don't even think that's super spoilery because it's like there's so much that goes on, like so much complexity. And I think like the other thing that's really nice too is that they're like teenagers, well, I guess like early 20s ish, and so they're just making like young people mistakes, and so you kind of like.
Yeah.
In The Boys, you see these characters making actions, and you're like, not cool, not good. But then you see like these kids kind of like fumbling and like having identity crises and doing stuff. Yeah, and you're just like, oh shoot, they're going through it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it made it. I love The Boys. I think The Boys is better. I do really like Gen V. I think The Boys is better. But what I loved about Gen V was just kind of it was like nice to have this kind of CW-esque, Riverdale-y, as you like to call it, kind of boys, you know. So
I think like what I liked about I agree, I do like The Boys better than Gen V. What I binge watched the three seasons of The Boys, so I watched all of it in
how
kind
fun!
of one
That'd be so
setting.
fun. Yeah.
What I got tired of with The Boys was Huey and Becker kind of being like, we gotta kill Homelander, and that being the same story for each
True.
3 seasons. So like getting a new sort of like A plot was interesting to me and a little bit of a breath of fresh air. What I will say with your comments about Anthony Starr's Homelander is like we need a tropey word for that type of villain, which is like, I don't know if you guys watched Heroes when we were younger, but the villain of that, Sylar, I think was his name. It was played by what's his name? Spock in the new Star Trek movies.
Oh, how funny!
What's his name?
I can't remember. I know.
sorry.
I know, yeah. Zachary Quinto.
Yes, Zachary Quinto.
There we go. Yes.
We need like a TV tropes-esque like name for that villain who is so villainous, but like you just like it's like car crash villain where you like want to keep watching them.
Yeah.
I never want to see them be defeated. I want to continue watching them do evil shit, but I'm not like rooting for them.
I want to hear your guys. I want to hear y'all's like favorite villains because there's two others that I think have that
Television
chemistry.
specifically?
No, for me the two that come to my head when I watched Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, I have never been so scared. Like I don't even love that movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I will never forget the scene with the penny and he goes up to that like sweet old cashier and it was like whatever he instilled in me.
The gun too. Yeah.
Whatever he instilled in me is that word that you're thinking of. And the other time I felt that, like we consume this stuff like a lot, right? And so the only 2 times I've felt scared to my gut was with Javier Bardem and then with Heath Ledger, the Joker, when he was the Joker.
Totally.
I remember when he came on screen and it was like every time he told a different backstory for the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like the first time you heard it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. And then the second time he said it,
like,
I'm literally getting chills thinking of it because I was like, you are so on a different, it's a different level of villain. I don't know what the word would be, but those are the 2 times I have felt that. So sorry, Evan, we're totally going off here. Your turn.
Oh gosh, so you know who I really like, who I don't think gets enough credit in this zone, is Hela from Thor Ragnarok. I think that is it's a wonderful performance.
Yeah.
It's really campy. It's really funny, and you know she has a wound, but we don't spend too much time on it. I maybe am anxious for us to get back to villains that don't need a shit ton of backstory.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Give them some complexity, but also I think we are a little obsessed in our pop culture these
That's
days.
true. She's terrifying though. When
she's
she came,
great. Yeah.
When she came on the screen, you were like, there is some combination of like that they need to like have some sort of physicality that makes them very daunting.
I was just gonna say it's just because Kate Blanchett is fucking Kate
awesome.
Blanchett.
But Anthony Starr has it, Heath Ledger had it, and Javier Bardem, and I don't like all those villains are completely different.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there's just it's not just physicality though. It's like chemistry, it's energy. There's something, but it's like there is, and I do agree with you. I think like one of the things that made Javier Bardem and Heath Ledger so scary was like we didn't know a lot about him. Like the
Sure,
Joker
yeah.
kept on the Joker's. What was the Joker's backstory?
Right, yeah.
And then who is this guy for Javier Bardem's character? It was like
a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit like,
strangers. Why are you doing
I was
this?
gonna say,
Because you're
Yeah.
you're
home.
home.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
so
we,
scary.
We both went for that exact same reference.
I'll say villain of the year. I think Superfly from Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
oh, Superfly was so good.
was great.
I didn't catch that flick.
Yeah, oh,
It's
it's
fun.
really good. Yeah,
It's fun.
yeah, it's streaming. You should watch it. It's
Yeah.
it's a hoot, and yeah,
super cute.
Ice
yeah.
Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yeah, given the villain performance of the year, he's terrific and looks really cool, and it's a fun little like
He's so
subversion of the
likable.
Ninja Turtles lore. He's great.
It was like I'm sorry, like I would have never kind of like said that, but like 100%. I watched it recently, and I was just like, his performance was stellar. But the thing, he didn't even really seem like a villain because he was like so.
He's
he was
cool.
Awful. He was awful. He's definitely the villain,
Yeah.
but he was just like so cool and likable. What kept him making me laugh was like. He like kept going, what the hell, you know, and and it was just like it was so genuine. Like
Yeah.
I just thought he acted very like
great.
he there's like a part where he's like I don't want to spoil it for you, but he's
It's okay.
It's kaiju, you know. He's like going
fun.
around the city, and it was just like funny. Like I just thought he had very genuine reactions to how if we somehow were towering around LA. Like I don't know. I just thought it was very likable and cute. Though that's not what a villain wants to be described as, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree.
Lovable
done?
and cute.
I'm
That's
sorry.
the villain that I want to be.
We
Thank
went
you
30
guys.
minutes over what I said. It's okay. Sorry, everybody.
Thank you guys so much for sticking with us today. Those were some of our favorite and least favorite pop culture moments of the year. We're looking forward to a 2024 with, we counted, 10 Marvel and Star Wars shows coming out and TV and movies coming out next year, which is wild. Plus, we have things like The Boys Season 4, Fallout, which is I'm personally really excited
yes.
for, House of the Dragon Season 2, among other things. It's going to be a good year. This is probably our final live break room of the year, but stay tuned to the channel. We will be putting out other things that we've already recorded or that we'll be recording later, but just airing at a different time. So stick around, and we'll see you live in the new year. Be sure to subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars network: New Rockstars, The Break Room, The Deep Dive. Hey guys, where can they find your socials?
At JACKIJING, and I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, everything.
Do you have a preference?
Ooh, you know what? I've been going back and forth on Instagram and TikTok, though both of them tend to annoy me. And I'm on X too, but X kind of annoys me.
Who says
I said,
X?
okay, no. I said
says
Twitter,
X?
and then he asked me if I was on X, and I said, who says X? So he's making fun of me. Anyway, yeah, at Jacki Jing. No E on the end. Jordan?
Hey, I've got a graphic novel available for pre-order that I would love for people to check out. It is called Youth Group. It is a YA horror comedy that some might say is a little Riverdale. Riverdale meets Shaun of the Dead, maybe?
Good combo.
I love
that might be a good pitch.
combo.
Yeah, it's about teenage exorcists. I did it with a great artist named Bowen McGurdy. And you can pre-order it now, bit.ly/youthgroupbook. You can see the cover there, find all the pre-order links, or just, go to wherever you buy a book. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local indie bookstore. Youth Group, pre-order it. I would love that.
That's going to be on Netflix someday, everybody. I'm manifesting that.
Let's manifest
Can
it.
you make me
you know
one
what?
of the
I'm gonna-
creepy counselors or something? Not like bad creepy, but like, they're like, oh, that's a weird one.
Yes,
thank
I can do that.
I'm gonna do the adaptation of it and just throw all the source material.
No, my
away.
precious source material. It's now about a haunted car wash.
Will hate it.
Why? I don't
We'll
know.
make an anthology series, episodic.
Oh, there you go. Yes, it'll be all be very episodic. New monster every week.
Thank you guys so much.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
everybody.